Hello, and this is one of my favorite kind of characo sketch orders. I love all characo actually, but this one the client provided a type of character where there isn't, I mean, a type of species for the species inspiration that is worldwide. So it doesn't have a specific look. So my imagination could run wild with it. And like even say if they had a cat, like cats have a particular look, but Jen, nah. Even though I did look it up just to get an inspiration boost, and so I with this character. I did look it up, but then I promptly forgot. And but from what I remember, even before I just did it for the visual inspiration, but I realized that wasn't really helping, and to just go fun with it, like do what I love best, which is just off the top of the dome. And so, but anyway, I actually had an idea before this that involved the more fire looking, but actually I got carried away when finally was able to start, and I forgot. And so I just ended up going with this other idea, which I actually really love. And you see. So the client ordered male, husky, and front and back view and gin, and everything else was up to me, even like the colors. And but I was late, and so I decided to uh give. So whenever I'm delayed, I try to make up for it by doing extra work. And so this one I did a headshot and a fashion design. And it wasn't until after I was done, I was like, oh man, it would have been cool to do like a different front view version where it's like its power up version. Because I was thinking the species had, like, when they're calm and normal, they look just human, but when they're powered up, they look different. Not too different for some. Like it varies from individual to individual. I'm thinking, but like for some, they look like giant beasts or something. No, like don't imagine anything. That's my part. That's my job. uh, Cause I was like, oh shit, that would have been cool, but I didn't have time, and I already did the fashion in the head, and I thought that was fair. So, uh, anyway, so I wanted, uh, I definitely love his nose, but I thought he looked good with the mustache. I mean, with the yeah, with a mustache, and I thought it would be cute to have tusks going the same way. So that's why I got tusks, and I'm thinking they're tusks. Oh, I'll get to that soon. But with the hair, um, it's the hairstyle of his particular ethnicity of the jinn. I'm thinking another thing I love about these ancient worldwide creatures is that you could run wild with it and do and create your own version of it and not have it be cliche. And that's why I hate cliche so much when someone just works with that given one where it's so close to the original, and I'm like, ugh, boring and lazy. But even though that's just me saying, even though this is it isn't too outward out there, I mean he does have two cocks because his character wanted two cocks. The species just said we require two cocks, and so there they have it. And anyway, so even though the gin, the wild with the my version of the gin is more written rather than visual, but even though I believe visual is definitely is the most important when you want to convey something. But fuck it, I love his look. So um and anyway, so with their species, with the two cocks, so one is usually smaller than the other, like human breasts. But with his little one is actually smaller than average, and but it's a grower. So when he's hard, it grows as long as the long cock, and the long cock actually stays that length, and it's more of just a shower. So when it gets hard, and also with the species, they have claws, but oh, you see, with his pecs, I wanted them big because I rarely do that kind of pecs, and they are out there. Where it's just for some reason it's just more wide. They're some guys who work out, their pecs are just big, and so that's what I wanted to give them. And anyway, so their claws are retractable, but some people are not deformed, but just birth defect, which yet isn't exactly a deformity. I think. Yeah, it is, right? I don't know, but anyway, I hate saying that. I don't know, but anyway, um, so his birth defect is that he can't retract his claws, and and also the species they float, and they always float because you know how frogs have some frogs emit slime from their skin. Well, they're these creatures they emit some kind of air thing that um like pushes against gravity, and also makes whatever they wear appear as if they're in water. Like it just floats, and it changes. It's different for each individual on how much naturally their thing makes things float, and they all float the same. So like they don't touch the ground, and but they can touch. I mean, they can like sit down, but usually, but they're always floating, and I'm thinking they could actually take a drug that could make them touch the ground, even though for some it actually could hurt if they do it, if they force themselves to do so. But the drug makes it easy. But the drug is also very dangerous and addictive. It's kind of like opium. So it's their version of opium. So it's very dangerous, and he doesn't do drugs. This character, my version of this character, doesn't partake in that particular activity. He partakes in other activities though. Oh, and you see with the test, the ears, that just came to me when I was doing because I wanted to give two gauges, and all of a sudden while I was finishing the gauge holes, I was going back to the test. I was like, like what would be amazing, and so that's why I changed it. I couldn't help it. I had to do it, and I wanted to give him thick lips, uh, because I just wanted his facial structure to be very distinct, and I actually usually do thick lips, but not this thick. I mean, I usually do full lips, and full thick lips are more aesthetically pleasing to me personally. And like I rarely do a character with thin lips, and if I do, it's just because I haven't done it in a while. Cause and like that's the reason I would do thin lips. It's because I haven't done it in a while, just to add some diversity, and cause I need that. If I notice I haven't done something in a while, if something seems too common, I automatically want to go against that. So anyway, you can see with his hair, it's like their style. So that side of their hair is faded, and it's faded to the side and down the neck. But on the other side, it's not. It's just the hair, and that's just like one of their styles, one of their popular styles. and I was debating about giving him a beard or a goatee, but I thought that would be way too close to the cliche version of Jin, which some people call Genie, or at least with the Western, white Western, and call referred to as Genie. Um, and I wanted to give him monolith eyes, cause mainly I was thinking very desert with his design. Sometimes I do think of particular human regions if I'm doing facial structure. I mean, I always do, but I try to think of the regions where facial structure I rarely see. Um, that's always my go-to. I always try to do a facial structure that's not common. On his particular structure is kind of based on Sahara. Oh, wait, Sahara. Yeah, and it's a wide range, like from about that area to about Vietnam, like that whole thousands of miles. All the people there was the inspiration, and mainly the deserts and the hot, the like burning places. And so, cause when I think of actually for some reason when I think of Jin, I know why. When I think of Jin, I think desert, even though I don't think that's really true for this particular for the word Jin. I think I don't know. I forgot what I looked up. But anyway, um, and you see soon I'm doing the fashion. Oh, and you see how he's leaning to the side like that. That's because he's like, bitch, what? I'm thinking he's working with his client and he's judging the hell out of them because they just said some outlandish bullshit. And, and he's like, ugh. And he's like, bitch, what? And, like, much attitude. But he's not going to say it out loud because this is a client. So he's just going to judge them quietly. And, I was thinking that maybe, with this, with the gin, like, they can eat I don't know. It's like very loosely. I was like maybe they could eat wishes or no, they eat the peop the people who makes the wishes. Like that's what fuels them. But I have to think about it. But anyway, but I did think that if someone makes like a wish that changes a reality, then it's not that they change reality, they just teleport that person to that alternate universe and they don't come back. Like there is no take backs. Like even if they grow to actually despise it, they're stuck there because part of their power um oh so part of the power one of their powers is that they could transport between alternate universes, and I'm thinking some can do it to with dish themselves, and others can do it, but most that's like a deformity if they could only do it to themselves, but some can do it to others, like to other not of their species. Like they can't never do it to their own species, unless like it's a kid and they haven't developed their that ability yet. But they can. But anyway, besides floating, they can like turn into smoke. I think I didn't mention that. And well, not smoke. They turn into like the air, and and even if like you capture part of it, um, that doesn't work. They like that won't trap them or make them deformed. It'll like their body will automatically make the air them like themselves, or they'll and if there's no air, then they won't be able to rematerialize until that energy that is them that is floating around finds air. Um, I know I have to share that one a bit, but anyway, and so him, this guy, his clothing is actually inspired by. Um, I did touch on the cliche a bit, but I wanted to change it up. So sometimes I do touch on the what is already existing just to change it up. Because my main goal with all fashion is to do something that when I look at it, I can't think of anything else. Or I can't pinpoint exactly where, like in time or in any human culture, it could be a part of. I try to do something outside of all that. And that's my goal with every fashion. But sometimes I do something that might be based on an already existing place or already existing fashion style. And but this one was only slightly like with the pants. It's mainly the pants and the sash. I think a bit like the lower part of their body is about inspired by Moors, Arabic type, like a mix of those um various ethnicities within those, like Moors and blah blah blah, you know. But anyway, but very lightly. And and with this character, you see, I wanted to give him two cock rings. Why do I do this? I don't know why I make something that I know I'm just going to cover up. And no, see, I knew I was going to have the pants be sheer, but I know it would cover them anyway. But you could kind of see it, right? The cock rings. But anyway, this character, he actually hates asymmetrical, and he's actually very. It's like it bothers him asymmetrical. But the reason that he's wearing asymmetrical in his hair is in the asymmetrical style of his particular area, his particular ethnicity of the jinn, is that his best friend was killed, and so in honor of him, he wears and dresses in asymmetrical, and also with how they float. So and depending on you get kind of how accents can tell like kind of where someone is from might be from. You could tell that with both their accents and with how they float. So, like mostly people within the hood of this area, when they walk, they don't just float. They like move their legs too, even though they're still floating. And like I think I mentioned, they can't touch the ground. Well, they can, but it'll hurt or it'll be very uncomfortable. And it takes a drug to make them go down. But it's oh yeah, I mentioned that. Sorry, this is the fourth time I'm recording this because I keep forgetting things to add. And it's like oh, like okay, the eyes. I'm thinking there's three kinds. There's like the white part is never white, and the white part is usually either black, blue, or red in that order. And so he has the second most, and red of the white part is actually more is one of the rare, but there's one more rare one. And anyway, and the irises are the red part. I can't think of the other colors, but I know red. Like there's just pairs that are common. But anyway, see, you could see in the back of the head, it's a fade. If you don't know, with Afro textured hair, I mean, it could be of almost any textured hair, but a fade with Afro textured hair is, and you could layer it, and so that's what he has, and it's just a style within his culture. Oh, and with the fashion, it's the first time I started with the fashion coloring instead of the instead of the character color palette, and I love how it came out. It matched so well. I didn't even plan it. I wanted to see what would happen if I was to do that. If I was to color the fashion first and then go back to the character, and man, it looks gorgeous. I love it, and I love his facial structure. And oh, and I told you why he's like judging his client because he's like, bitch, what? They just said some bullshit. And sorry if I'm repeating again, fourth time recording this, and so I'm kind of forgetting. So I covered the eyes, the floating, and the skin. Being hard, their skin is actually hard, and they're hard, but oh, and they could teleport, but you're either born with it or you have to be taught. Most people have to be taught, but this guy, he was born with it, and so yeah, and I love I love his design. And see, it's mostly human, but like touch changes here and there, and they always float. And oh, and his shoes are pointed, and so oh yeah, I love. This is so much fun. Thank you so much. Bye.